Hey, it's DFS and Bets here on Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I got Mango and I got JJ. I'm Holden. We're going to break these games down from a DFS side, a bet side. We're going to do the 2 Saturday games, then we'll pick out 4 games on Sunday. I want to remind everybody before we get into this, give us a like. Mango, and how about the 2 thumbs for JJ? Why don't you do that for us? And unmute yourself. There you go.
I'm out here muted. So here we go. As JJ says, if you're watching this video, please give us the 2 thumbs up. We appreciate it a ton. Right, JJ? Those are videos you did. You do the 2 thumbs up. You and your dad do videos. I'm sure he hated the 2 thumbs up, just like he hates everything else.
Not a fan of the thumbs up.
Not
a fan.
Why?
He'd rather people dislike his videos.
I'm serious, man. You guys have the most interesting relationship, father and son, I've ever seen. I mean,
I told you when I started doing videos on, because it was his channel years and years ago, called 5 years ago, and I started looking at his videos, like he was disliking all his own videos. I was like, what are you doing?
What?
Every one of his videos he was disliking with his account. I'm like, what are you doing? He was like, no, I mean, the dislikes are worth more than the likes. I'm like, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true.
Give us a thumbs up. Oh, it's just terrific. He said he goes out and he says, JJ, I wish I would have just shot my wad out the window 30 years ago. Anyways, Draft Cheat joined us. Do you know Draft Cheat, guys? You guys know who he is, right? He joined the team. DC30. DC30 promo code, 30% off first month, 15% off life of your subscription. You get the bet side for 20 extra bucks. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. These guys have been crushing it. Now we got Joey Work, who's on fire at college basketball. I thought he was just a baseball guy. He's crushing it. Twatty was on a heater. This guy, JJ's crushing it. Mangone, all these guys. Mangone, speaking of that, don't we got NBA premium content coming up? And then we'll get to the football stuff.
Yeah, we got NBA coming up around the corner. If you're still love NBA and want to keep grinding it out now, it's already started, right? We got preseason DFS, which I've been in the streets. It's been a good time. Definitely made some money from it, and we have some awesome stuff going on here. We got premium show that we'll be having. We got the Discord chat. That's been really helpful for the preseason stuff. Specifically, everyone's posting any kind of news and nuggets that they find to help each other out. One thing I know that was in there yesterday, if you were watching the Kings game and you're like, why is Kyle Guy just going on an absolute heater? Well, the Run Pure Sports people knew it because Luke Walton basically sent out there was a coach quote that said, hey, Kyle Guy is going to see, a bunch of minutes. And he basically talked about how Halliburton was going to see less minutes and said they were going to give him more runs. So, that was definitely good times for me and good times for the Run Pure Sports people. So check out all the NBA content we have, the core plays, the playbook. There's going to be tons of awesome shows that we're going to have here.
All right, beautiful. Let's get into this. We got the 2 Saturday games. We got 4 Sunday games. Let's start with a Saturday slate. Buffalo at Denver, and then Carolina at Green Bay. JJ, let's start with you on these 2 games. Just from the betting side with Buffalo, Denver. The Bills have been bet up to 6.5-point favorites on the road, coming here to my town. 50 is the total. How much were we buying into Buffalo going on the road and covering this? It's a big number.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to try to wait for this to get to 7, which I do believe it will, seeing some low 6.5 big, even FanDuel starting to throw up 7. I'm going to wait for this to get to 7. This may even, I'd be shocked if it's crossed 7 by Saturday, but I would think it could get to 7 and stay there. And if it does, I'm going to go back to Denver in this spot. And I know Denver was my best bet from our video on Sunday morning, Holden. I thought they weren't getting enough respect. And then here, the opening line was probably correct. If this line moves from 5 to 7 or again, even past 7, I'm going to like Denver. I don't suspect any reason for Denver to struggle offensively in this game. Now, we could maybe talk about the total going over. At 50 is a fair number because Buffalo's probably going to score. But Denver's defense has been, dare I say, underrated. I mean, this defense is typically stopping a lot of teams. Now, they had some 3rd and 4th quarter woes this past week, which has been kind of like a Vic Fangio thing. I mean, Holden, you can attest being from out there. It just seems like they've blown a lot of late leads under him. I don't know if they go like prevent or whatever, but they give up a lot of points late, especially when they have leads. They did it against Carolina this week. But now, look, you're getting potentially a full 7. Everybody loves what they're seeing from Buffalo now. And again, I just think it's another spot, just like last week, where Denver's just not getting near enough respect that they should. If I could take the 7 at home with Denver in this spot, with Drew Lock, who's shown that, yeah, he's mistake prone, but he's also able to make some throws into tight windows and scramble as needed to make plays. And look, the run game goes without saying. Melvin Gordon's been good. Philip Lindsay's been good as a change of pace. They got some healthy, good receivers. Look, Buffalo's been great, and I'm sure they'll be able to score points in this spot, but I'll probably end up taking the number at 7 with Denver.
Very good. I mean, the only thing about Denver, I think that their cornerbacks are really struggling. And of course, Bouyer's out, and they've got young guys playing back there. But you are correct, JJ. I mean, they have really stepped up at other points and gotten a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. Let's go to this from a DFS side. Mr. Mangone with Josh Allen and Drew Lock. So I'm just looking at the DK salaries. Allen's 7.2. Lock is 5.0. We'll start at the quarterback position. And if you want to kind of make a natural transition into the wide receivers, because I mean, there's a lot of options. Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler, especially Patrick. This guy's coming on. Diggs, Beasley, Gabe Davis seems to score every game. Start at QB. Let's get to the passing games, man. Going.
Yeah. So if you look at, this game, so it's a Saturday game, right? This is going to be a 2-game slate. So we're going to have to consider guys on all sides, right? This isn't, on the main slate of 13 games. If it was, Bills Broncos wouldn't really be a game I'd be too excited about. Sure, it is a 50 total. There'd be some some options I would look to, but I do think that we have to, look at these guys and really consider them and dig deep. So we'll start with Josh Allen. I think the question is going to be Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers. Obviously those are the 2 highest priced quarterbacks, and then the 2 lowest priced are going to be Bridgewater and Locke. So that's going to be a big debate if you want to go Allen or Rodgers. I lean trying to make sure to get Rodgers in there, but if that's $600 in savings for Allen makes things work, I totally understand that. I haven't done too much roster construction with the 2-game slate. I'm not really that excited about these running backs in these games. I will say it's a heavy wide receiver slate, like a really good one. So overall, I do think you might look at some 4 wide receiver builds. Some that we'll talk about here. Let's talk about Stephon Diggs. I mean, he has been absolutely crushing it all year long. Broncos have struggled. They've had their cornerbacks out. I think Stephon Diggs, great option, but I think Gabe Davis's price tag is too cheap still, like $4K for him in this spot with no John Brown. Like, what are we doing here? I mean, this is a great spot for him. So absolutely love Gabe Davis at 4K. I think Cole Beasley's 4.7K price tag is really good as well. So don't want to ignore that. And there's some other interesting cheap options. Like Jerry Jeudy should not be 3.9K. The only reason he is 3.9K is because Drew Lock can't get him the ball. That is the big issue there. I don't know why. I don't know how, but Drew Lock just sucks. He is absolutely awful. Somehow Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler have looked better than we've expected. They're going to be interesting cheap options that you can consider as well. I lean maybe going Hamler for that $700 savings off of Tim Patrick. That's kind of where I would go if I had to pick. And tight end on this slate, I mean, it's a brutal one, right? Like, you know me, I never like tight end holding. Like Dawson Knox, Noah Fant, Robert Tonyan, and Ian Thomas. Like, it's not pretty. And Noah Fant is $800 cheaper than Bob Tonyan. So I might lean trying to go there for the savings because, again, tight end is not a spot I'm trying to spend on. Just depends on how, like, the overall construction of the slate goes. But I think on the Denver side, I'm not looking at Locke. I'm not really looking at that running game. I'm looking at those cheap wide receivers and Noah Fant. And on the Bills side, I'm looking at maybe Allen versus Rodgers. And then I'm looking at those receivers and seeing how they mix and match throughout my lineups.
Yeah, it really is interesting. Then, you look at the running backs, and I'm just fascinated that Melvin Gordon is getting the workload that he's getting right now. he had 16 touches last week, 17 the week before. I mean, if the guy actually finds the end zone, he's going to pay off like big time. He's a 20-point scorer in any format if he finds the end zone, Mangone.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say about like Melvin Gordon is like, sure, like recently he has been getting like the rush attempts, but like I wouldn't be shocked if out of nowhere Philip Lindsay got it. It is a rough running back slate. And like the one case you can make is like the one spend up option that we have here is Aaron Jones, right? Like, and it's like, man, like, do I want to spend on Aaron Jones, or should I just go down for $2,000 less and play Melvin Gordon and hope he falls into the end zone in a game that has a 50 total? Like, to be honest, I might not mind that because, again, Aaron Jones, the problem with him in this spot is like, sure, he can perfectly, like, Packers are perfectly fine with handing him off the ball, right? You would think that, but they're fine with also giving Jamal Williams the ball. AJ Dillon, like it's a roulette. Like I don't want to play roulette, Holden. Like that doesn't sound like a fun time to me. I'd rather go to Mike Davis. Like again, I'm not trying to segue over another game, but it is a 2-game slate. And we're trying to think everything through. But Mike Davis at 6.5K feels like the safest running back. And like you could make a case going Melvin Gordon as your RB2 and then just loading up with wide receivers. Because listen, we don't want to fade Devontae Adams. It's hard to fade Stephon Diggs. You got guys like Robbie Anderson who are strong plays. DJ Moore, who will be back from the COVID, who's still too cheap. Like there's a lot of really good receiver options where you can make the case to kind of fade these top end running backs and maybe go that Melvin Gordon and pray that the bell cow roll is still there and he falls in the end zone. So it's a good point you're making, Holden.
Yeah, I don't even know what point I was making. All I know is Uncle Dunkel won like $20-something thousand last week. And if Devontae Parker doesn't go down, he just quits. Like he drops everything. He says, screw you guys. And he goes into hiding. Dude, you got thoughts on DFS. JJ, you crushed it, man. Who's your play from this?
Broken clocks right twice a day. I mean,
who stop it. Stop being self-deprecating. Who do you like this week from this game? Anybody you're targeting?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the lack of corners. Now, I specifically haven't looked at pricing yet. And the Saturday slates are always interesting, right? Because you always get only 2 games, and you gotta be different, but you can't be too different because you need to lock in certain players. You don't have a choice. It's not like a Sunday where like you can take stands everywhere if you want. Yeah, I don't know how you'd fade Diggs in this spot at all. But I'll dig deeper, but I will tell you this: typically on these Saturday slates, when I do play them, I almost always go the cheaper quarterbacks, just to give myself room to pay for studs elsewhere. I know some people might want to lock in their higher, the top quarterbacks, and especially for cash, you probably need to. But if you're thinking GPPs, like I think you'd have to probably play Lock or Bridgewater, primarily because it gives you the options. It gives you a lot more flexibility to play studs throughout, and then you have extra money elsewhere to do. Basically your roster construction is going to look much different than most people's because almost everybody is going to lock their points in with either Allen or Rodgers. And you'll definitely be different. And not only you're different, obviously, at the quarterback position, but your lineup will look far different because you have that extra savings there.
Guys, I know what I want for my holiday bonus this year. DraftKings just announced that it's going to give retail gift cards. There'll be $25 and $50 denominations. I better get 10 50s. 7-Eleven, Speedway, Dollar General. All these places are going to have gift cards for DraftKings. How about that? That's wild stuff. I like it. I like that. Everybody's thinking it's normal now.
JJ, did you see that? Holden just broke some news. We're doing holiday. We're doing holiday gifts. We're doing bonuses. Is that what he just broke there?
Dude, I just got a holiday. I work for a place 2 days a week. I just got a holiday bonus, a Amazon gift card for 3 digits.
I heard we're getting bonuses and it's coming out of Holden's cut. That's
hold on. You're the one. You are the owner. You're the one paying the bonus. And Big T, get your shit together, man. Let's go. Holiday bonus. You're running late right now. Like and subscribe to this. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. DC30 is the code for Draft Cheat. He just joined us. DC30, 30% off first month, 15% off lifetime subscription. Good God, learn how to talk, dude. It's only what I get paid for. And then Mango, real quick, Monkey Knife Fight. Run Pure is the code. Get up to a $50 deposit match for first deposits. Like we've been crushing in NFL, and I'm looking forward to the NBA starting up.
Yeah, the Monkey Knife Fight stuff has been on fire. So get in the Discord chat, right? That's the place to be. You basically sit in there and you get the notification that someone's interested in the play and tail it. And it's been crushing, man. Absolute heater. Tons of members. One guy said this is paying more than my real job. Another guy said he was like, I made 1,200 this week. Another guy said he's grinded his bankroll from $5 all the way to like 120, and now he's moving his bankroll up to 10. So
that's
we
good.
We got the guys who are just placing everything on one bet, and the guys who are grinding out the bankroll. So we got it all here, and get in the Discord chat for it. Use the code RUNPURE, get a little match deposit bonus, $50, and hey, just tail the plays and print.
All right, JJ, let's go to the next Saturday game. Carolina at Green Bay. Spread here between 8.5 and 9. Favored Green Bay at Lambeau. Total's 51.5 minus 10, of course. And I'm just looking like, I think Aaron Rodgers is the MVP right now. I really do believe that. He's carrying this team on his back. He has made other guys besides for Devontae Adams relevant. I mean, I like what's going on with Tunyon. I like what's going on. Lazard is back now. They decide they really don't want to run too much or, give Jones the ball that much anymore. What's your take on the side first with Green Bay laying a whole bunch of points against Carolina?
Yeah, so this is interesting, right? Because last week, a game I had the most eyes on was, of course, Denver, Carolina, right? And on Saturday, both these teams are playing. Of course, different opponents. But look, what I said with Carolina was, as a favorite this year, they're 0-2 and now 0-3 straight up and against the spread. But as an underdog with Teddy, they're much better winning percentage. I believe against the spread this year under Bridgewater, especially spreads this large, 7 or over. I want to say he's like 4-1 or 3-1. It's definitely pretty eye-popping. But it's been kind of Bridgewater's thing throughout his career. He typically hangs around numbers, doesn't find himself losing a lot of games late, or losing a lot of games by big numbers. So yeah, I mean, I'd have to lean Carolina, and I think this will probably steam down from 9.5. 9, 8.5, even some points. Wouldn't even surprise if this went down to 8. I do believe Saturday you'll probably see some more Green Bay money. But again, people might have a bad taste in their mouth. Green Bay did not cover against the Lions this past week in a game they more or less should have. What I will say is that this line more or less says that Carolina is equal to Detroit, and that's simply not the case. Now, when Carolina played Detroit this year, they did not have Bridgewater. They had who's our boy Holden?
Who's that?
The
Bridgewater. Give me a hint.
I can't think of the quarterback. No, his backup that filled in for one game.
Philip Walker.
Oh, PJ Walker. Right?
So PJ fills in. The line swings a bit, but that line opened Carolina -3, and so ultimately we know at minimum, because we weigh home field advantage less. We know at minimum Carolina is better than Detroit. Detroit hasn't shown recently that they're any better since Carolina played Carolina, and Carolina hasn't really showed that they're any worse. So this line is the exact same as Detroit last week, and it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Now I get it, this one's in Green Bay, but again, home field advantage doesn't mean all that much this year. So I mean, look, for me, value is going to be on Carolina. I'm just interested to see which direction this line takes. As far as the total goes, it's a big number, right? So 51. Look, Carolina's going to want to keep this lower scoring, but Carolina has shown that they can shoot out if they need to. Green Bay's defense is certainly susceptible. I think this really comes down to Carolina's run game. If Mike Davis can extend some drives with, maybe some short third down runs or first down runs for 5-6 yards to make Teddy Bridgewater's decision-making easier. Also, do we know anything about DJ Moore? Is he also out for this game?
Yeah, probably. It's trending that way at this point.
Okay, because their passing game did seem to suffer a bit. Robbie Anderson was getting targeted a ton, and Curtis Samuel wasn't doing near as much. It almost seems like Samuel is more effective when DJ Moore is in there, which is kind of crazy. But either way, I'm going to lean for right now Carolina, but I'm interested to see where this line goes. And if, for instance, if the total goes up like another point or point and a half, I'm going to prefer the under. And if the line ends up going like at 7, I'm probably going to prefer Green Bay. For me, it's all going to be about a number spot. But if the line, assuming it stays where it is right now, 8.5, 51 total, I would lean Carolina.
All right, man, going from the DFS side, let's start with Carolina, because I think the wide receivers, possible game script of them being down. I mean, Green Bay's implied for almost 30 points. Carolina for 21. So we got Anderson, we got Samuel at the wide receiver position. Mike Davis, I think they're going to lean on Davis a lot again. This time in a passing game, dump it down. He's got 6 targets in each of his last 2 games. Lots and lots of Davis this week. What's your take on the Carolina offense first, and then feel free to transition into Aaron Rodgers and those guys.
Yeah, so the Carolina offense, they're going against the Packers defense. The Packers defense, they're more a bend not break defense, right? They're okay to give up some chunk yardage here and there down the field. And I could see those dump offs, right? The Mike Davis, like 4 yards. I could see, a little dump off to him for 5 yards out, Curtis Samuel, a 2-yard slant. They're okay doing that. And I think the Panthers are okay kind of taking those. So I'm curious to see how this all plays out. I do think you're going to see Carolina be able to move the ball enough. The question is, will they be able to put enough points on the board? That's the thing I'm going to be curious about. I do think the PPR, though, is going to be really good on DraftKings specifically. Like Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel, Mike Davis, like their floors, I think, are going to be really good from that perspective, right? We kind of saw that a little bit last week too, right? The Panthers weren't amazing. I can't remember. I mean, they obviously lost to Denver, and I can't remember how many points they put up, but if DJ Moore is out, Robbie Anderson had 17.7 fantasy points. Curtis Samuel had 16 fantasy points, and Mike Davis, he had, I'm pulling up now, 26.3. And mainly Mike Davis was the biggest beneficiary because he scored a touchdown, right? So whichever guy scores a touchdown is going to have that ceiling game that wins, but it feels like all of them have really nice floors if DJ Moore is out. So I'm kind of interested in this team. I also think that Dunkel brought up a good point earlier, talking about in GVPs wanting to go cheaper at quarterback. And if you want to go cheaper at quarterback, I take Bridgewater over Drew Lock if I have to pick one. That would be the route that I would go to. On the opposite side, like I said, I love Aaron Rodgers. His floor is amazing. He does not care. He's out here just trying to, get as many touchdowns and stat pad as possible. Devontae Adams is going to be a guy you would just lock and load on all your teams, in my opinion. He's too safe of an option. I would not want to get away from him. The only case you can make is, listen, if, Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel, Stephon Diggs, and like one Broncos player, or not even just one Broncos player, let's say you fade Adams and you go like Scantling, and Scantling has a big day. Like in tournaments, there's enough receivers where I think you can make that work, and that's going 4 receivers. So yeah, I think that is certainly in play to fade him in tournaments. But if you do, understand the risk. And if you do fade Devontae Adams in tournaments, probably play Aaron Jones, probably play Scantling or Lazard, right? Don't just play 0 Packers. So that's kind of overall my breakdown of this team. The last thing I'll touch on is Tonyan and how to handle him. He is really expensive. I think he makes some sense. If you can get him in cash games, sure. But in tournaments, I don't feel like I need to go up to Bob Tonyan. And the other thing I'll mention based on tournaments is salary, if you think about it. Okay, so 4.5K for Bob Tonyan. You see that. I could just leave salary on the table and go Noah Fant. And let's say I'm leaving $300 and I have Bob Tonyan. And then I just go from Tonyan to Fant. Now I'm leaving $1,000 on the table from Fant to Tonyan, which is not a big difference. And that's a great way to make myself different. So I think that leaving salary on the table in tournaments is a great option.
Oh, I like that. That's it. That's the Saturday slate, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get to the Sunday slate. Game of the week is going to be Kansas City at New Orleans. Dunkel. Can't believe I just called you Dunkel. It's because you're JJ. JJ
just rolls off the tongue. Hold on.
Oh,
he is Uncle Dunkel, man. What are you doing?
How did you even get that name? You don't even know.
I do know. JJ got that name because I remember it was college football DFS, and you said it was something with your friends, right? Right, Dunkel?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was using Dunkel for. Yeah, it was my DFS name, but I chose it specifically because, I think years and years ago, I don't know if you guys remember the movie with Ryan Reynolds and I don't remember the person's name, but there was a dude called Dunkelmans in that movie, just a complete D-bag. So people used to call me Dunkel because I'm always like the sarcastic D-bag around my friends. So and then ultimately Dunkel alone as a name isn't cool. So you got to throw something in front of it. So Uncle seemed to kind of fit perfect. So ultimately that's how we landed on Uncle Dunkel. I can't remember the movie. It was Ryan Reynolds where he's super fat but loses a lot of weight and has no confidence.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's the classic. It's on TBS and TNT all the time. I don't know.
It's literally on all the time. I can't remember it.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking. I don't know the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
But anyway, there's a dude in that movie called something Dunkelmans.
Deadpool.
And, he's just the cool guy who's a complete D-bag to everybody. So yeah, I started getting called Dunkel, and for DFS had to have a unique name. Seemed perfect. Just throw Uncle in front of it.
All right, as long as we're screwing around here, let me ask you a trivia question, boys. I wonder if you can get this. Derrick Henry is the first player with 1,500 plus rush yards in consecutive seasons since. Name one of the last two guys that had 1,500 plus rush yards.
It's got to be Peterson.
I'll lock in Barry Sanders.
Okay. Neither one.
Oh.
Tiki Barber, who did it 3 years, 04, 05, 06, and Larry Johnson, 05, 06. So Derrick Henry's doing something.
Larry Johnson definitely would have been on my list. I definitely wouldn't have guessed Tiki Barber, but I can't believe AP never did it 2 years in a row.
No, he must not have done it.
That's crazy.
Man.
Yeah, I met Tiki Barber. He did at shop. He was at my local ShopRite doing autographs when I was a kid. I was 6 or 7,
He used to go to a gym about 1 mile from me, and he used to do the leg press. It was just ridiculous.
Who is this?
Tiki.
Tiki Barber.
Tiki? And Larry Johnson's just a dick. Like I covered him in Kansas City, and he was just always a dick. Horrible.
Yeah, I mean he's doing conspiracy podcasts now with like Tommy G. So yeah,
he did. He did a podcast with Tommy G.
Yeah, I think they talk.
Yeah, he did.
Conspiracies.
Yeah,
and it's a wild ride.
Holy moly, that guy.
The movie was called Just Friends.
By the way, Just Friends. That was the Ryan Reynolds movie. Okay,
correct. Yeah,
I've never seen it, never heard of it. By the way, DJ Moore just came off the COVID list. JJ. So going back to the Carolina thing, does that do anything for you? Either one of you guys?
I think it does because I mean, look, that offense seemed to Bridgewater seemed to struggle moving the ball through the air against. And don't get me wrong, when they ran the ball effectively, they were fine. But when they weren't, he was struggling to move the ball through the air. And I think it had more to do with they were able to shadow cover a few of their extra guys. And it seems like with DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel finds more holes in the defense. So either way, yeah, I think he to this team specifically, he does appear to mean a lot.
Anything you want to say about that? But that Carolina Green Bay game, real quick, man, going with DJ Moore off the COVID list. Not 100% that he's coming back, but you would think.
Yeah, I guess I want to know who. I want to know who's going to be Jair Alexander's going to be covering, right? If he's on DJ Moore, give me the other guy. If he's on Robbie Anderson, give me the other guy. That's kind of how I'm thinking.
Okay.
So I definitely be trying to figure out where Jair is going to be. I would say that.
Okay. Chiefs Saints. KC -3, 51.5 is the total. We didn't talk about this game already, did we, guys? Patrick Mahomes just continues to roll. Taysom Hill has actually been tearing it up on the ground. New Orleans, one of the best defenses in the league. Kansas City, the best offense in the league. Something's got to happen here. Dunkel, -3 on the road with the Chiefs. You biting?
Didn't we see? So, like, I know we talked last week, going about the Madden aspect to Kansas City. Like, there was no better display of that than last week. I mean, they go down 10-0, right? And then they score 30 unanswered. And then they give up, 15 unanswered after that? Like, it's unreal how they just like, okay, we're down. It's only 3. Now it's 10. All right, let's turn it on. Here's 4 quick touchdowns. All right, now we got the lead. We're in good hands. And then they give up, 3 backdoor scores.
It's like the Chiefs decided, let's just run some. You grab your Madden control. Let me run some plays I never run. Oh, that doesn't work. Let's get back to the old plays. I'll do the glitch where I return the punt for the touchdown that the computer can't figure out. Like it was all just the Chiefs just do whatever they want.
You know what this reminds me of, guys? It reminds me of the year after the Rams won the Super Bowl, after they beat the Titans. They just went out and toyed with people and just beat the hell out of everybody. And then it came to the Super Bowl, and Brady and the Patriots ended up beating them. I'm not saying that's going to happen with this team, but they do. They're just so explosive. It's just one quarter, he throws 3 touchdowns, and boom, it's over. But how do the Chiefs not cover here, JJ?
So I think the way they've been playing recently means a lot coming into this game, and it's the reason why I like New Orleans. Now I like them at 3. I'm starting to see some 2.5. I mean, I think I even saw it pop 3.5 at some points. But I'm interested to see where this line goes this week because it's not very often you're going to get a spot for Kansas City where they only have to lay 3. Now they did it again. They had to do it against Tampa with 3.5. Was it Tampa that they played -3.5? Mm-hmm. That the Tampa backdoor covered. The Saints are a better squad than Tampa. Now, interested to find out who starts this game, right? Because before Breeze's injury, it was expected he was going to miss 5 games. This is the 5th game. Now, presumably he might be back. Has there been official news, Holden, on Breeze?
Not this week.
So he's not coming back this week.
There's been nothing official, but in all likelihood, he's not. I saw.
They said there was a chance, right?
Well,
like
Peyton said he's in a lot of pain still. So they could run him out there, but he's just in a ton of pain. So my sense, leaning Taysom Hill again.
Yeah. So the biggest issue with Taysom, we saw this past week, right? If they go down like 2 scores, he's not built to throw this team back into the game. And especially since Kansas City will be able to let those pass rushers go crazy. With that said, though, you would figure, Kansas City's typically just a bad team. Well, let me be more clear. From a DVOA perspective, this team's a decent defense. But against the run, you can run between the tackles against this team. And it's what the Saints do and what the Saints have been doing really well. You would figure you get a good game plan here from Sean Payton in terms of the positions he puts Taysom in. But for me, this is a great defense that Mahomes is going to see. And I worry about how much this team's been kind of sleepwalking through the last 5-6 weeks. Can they just turn it on in a game, the entire game throughout? Now, Mahomes, we talked about the MVP conversation, Holden. Mahomes, probably did like the absolute only thing he couldn't do to bring Rodgers back into the MVP conversation, and that was throw interceptions. Like his numbers were so good because he literally had no interceptions. It was like 20-something touchdowns and 2 picks. Now he's got 5 picks because he threw 3 of them against Miami. It definitely taints the numbers a bit, which makes Rodgers' stock go up in terms of futures. Look, but back to this game, if the Saints can just control clock and keep this game 1 score throughout, which I know it seems easier said than done, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they can do that, I not only like them to hang around 3, I like them to win outright in this spot. The problem is, can they? Because if they go down 2 scores, if there's a prop that says like if Kansas City goes up two scores, whatever, can you bet them? Will Kansas City go up 2 scores and win and pay a certain number? They don't have to win by 2 scores, but if they go up 2 scores and win, we'll lead by double digits at one point. I would definitely bet them to win because I don't think Kansas City looks back if they go up double digits. If they do not, though, and the Saints keep this close within, I'm more confident in the Saints' defense to get needed stops when necessary, and the Saints' offense to move the ball and keep time of possession. Time of possession is huge in this game because the only path to victory for the Saints is like a 35 to 40-minute time of possession in their favor, where you're keeping Kansas City off the field, forcing them to make plays in shorter time windows. But overall, this could be the best defense Kansas City's seen all year, and I'm very worried about how they've been sleepwalking through these games recently. So that's why I'd lean the Saints -3.
Wow,
I mean, a +3, regardless of who's playing quarterback.
That is a great breakdown there, I must say, because I'm leaning Chiefs so hard, and it's great to hear the other side of things. Mangone, before you get into the DFS side, we're both bettors too. I mean, what do you think about the sides in this one?
I mean, it's a tough one. I agree with JJ on the fact that I think the Saints are going to try and run a ton, but man, KC in a dome, what's going to stop them? I have a hard time taking the Saints side. So yeah, I'm out on making a bet on the Saints. I'll say that it's definitely an uncomfortable one. It's not an easy one. It's definitely very easy to be like, oh, I'll take the Saints and the points. It's also easy to just be like, hey, listen, I don't have a good read on this game, and I'll just stay away. But I would take the Chiefs if I'm forced to pick. If you told me I have to pick one side on this game, I would go KC -3.
So let's do the DFS side of things here. Mahomes is a lot. And really, when you look at his numbers on FanDuel, it hasn't really stuck out to me that much. I think DraftKings, you're getting a 300-yard bonus, so that's nice. He's getting a couple bonuses there. But then Travis Kelce leads the NFL in receiving yards. Tyreek Hill is scoring at least a touchdown every week. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is actually involved, and then you're going to have to dig up, if you want to dig up a gem or something like that, maybe a Robinson. There's so many weapons really in this game. And Mangone, I will say this before we get into this. Let me get my notes because I'm going to be talking about him in my position previews. Alvin Kamara, right? Casey's given up 128 rushing yards a game. Last 4 weeks, his snap count went 48%, 48, 62, 71. He got 10 targets last week. Taysom actually learned how to use him. I'm all in on Kamara this week. I think he's going to have a big week. He's 7-4 on DraftKings. That's where I want to play him. Thoughts on Kamara first?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily Taysom Hill learning how to use him. It's Taysom Hill being like, oh shit, it's 17-0. We're losing. I need to throw the ball to Alvin Kamara. I think that's more so what was going on there. So, I mean, he hasn't thrown him since because he hasn't had to, right? They've been leading all their other games. There has not been a reason to throw to Alvin Kamara.
Well, then this might be a good reason again. But
I agree. So I think when you're building out your tournament teams, right? If you're playing Alvin Kamara, you're playing it with the game script of, the KC Chiefs are leading. If you think for some reason KC is trailing a lot of the game, I don't think I'd be wanting to get Alvin Kamara in there. I just don't think that would be the route I would want to go. But yeah, it's not that easy to obviously, put together your construction. We've seen some wonky things win the Millie Maker. I do that cash lineup review show with Hoop, and there's bear stacks with nothing ran back and, double tight ends, just really wonky things going on. So, but that's just kind of my read on Alvin Kamara. I want him in a spot where he is going to be losing. And hey, this is a good losing game script. So that makes some sense. I do think Michael Thomas has been going pretty overlooked. He has been getting a decent amount of targets. Last week wasn't the best week, but that's okay. 7.2K. I still think he's a really good tournament option. The KC Chiefs side of the ball is tough. Tyreek Hill is getting expensive. And the crazy part about Tyreek Hill, it's We don't have Devontae Adams on the slate. So we do have a receiver in Tyreek Hill that makes a ton of sense to spend up for. He's going to be in a dome too, right? Like if there's a spot you want to play Tyreek Hill, the dome makes a lot of sense, right? Faster track. Yeah, I think Tyreek Hill is a fine spend. I would have to obviously go through and look at all the teams and different breakdowns of the entire slate. I haven't gone through and done that yet, but it's a hefty price tag for Tyreek Hill. I will say that. I honestly think I'd rather spend my money on Travis Kelce. Reason why I think I'd rather spend my money on Travis Kelce is he has been phenomenal this year. I mean, if you look at the numbers that he has been putting up, I'll just read you like 27.6, 27.6, 16.2, 26, 25.9, 25. That's like the last 6 weeks. I mean, he's had a couple duds here and there, but Travis Kelce is worth the spend at the tight end position. And the reason why is tight end is such a bad spot. I would rather get my production at the tight end position through Travis Kelce than getting it through Tyreek Hill, because at that position, when you're looking at construction, it's hard to get, 25 points. And you can, like, let's say you go Tyreek Hill at 8.8K, and then you go a tight end who is like 3K. I can go as a 2v2. I can go Travis Kelce at 8K, or I can go a 3.7K receiver. And you know what? I like my 3.7K receivers upside more than I like that 3K tight ends upside. And I'm basically locking in maybe 20 fantasy points at the tight end position, which is, again, a tough spot to make, to be getting that production. So ultimately, when I think you look at roster construction, I think Travis Kelce makes way more sense to be your spend up option on the Chiefs than Tyreek Hill. That's what I'm thinking in tournaments, and I'm thinking in cash games. And it's nothing against Tyreek Hill. I know he's been on Twitter saying, "Oh, am I wide receiver one now?" You are, Tyreek. You have been. You still are. 8.8K is just a hefty price tag, and I think Travis Kelce just makes more sense.
All right, guys. Let's say. And by the way, my best lineup last week had Kelce in the flex with Irv Smith as the tight end. So I think you can get a little crazy with the tight end flex too, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have been. I'm telling you. So the last 2 weeks, I mean, the winning Millie Maker team has been double tight ends. And I think a team that got 5th place had Gesicki and Kelce as the double tight end.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I know I didn't mention Mahomes, and I mean, I obviously have to mention him. He's amazing. If you have the money, sure, we can go up to him. But again, it always depends. I do like locking in my skill position players more, because the difference between, quarterbacks from like the 5K to, 8K range, the difference between like receiver from 8K to 5K, it's way much of a wider margin. So I'd rather be spending my money at receiver and running back rather than quarterback. But if we get the value on the slate, Pat Mahomes is definitely the #1 quarterback.
Hey, Dunkel, get off Pornhub. They took millions of videos off there anyway, so you don't want to go there anymore.
Yeah, if there's one thing I'm not on, it's that.
Yeah, go use X videos. Anything going on the bet side, buddy? That I know we got the $20 extra if you want to sign up. We got the promo code DC30 for 30% off first month, 15% off lifetime subscription. You can add the bet side for $20. What else is going on over there? You guys have been all on heaters.
Yeah, I mean, between Joey work with CBB and Matt with CBB, and then, Jay and I do the NFL, and then I do college football. We're just covered from every angle. But yeah, bet 25% off, whether it's first week, first month, whatever you want to use it for. And yeah, like I always tell people, when you sign up, make sure you get in the Discord. Discord's the most valuable asset. Discord's worth the price on its own. Forget about the picks. I mean, sure, the picks are great, but you can get all the picks in the Discord as well. And whatever questions you have in other games, because look, at the end of the day, we know we're going to give you picks in the sheet, but you're still going to want to play other games. Feel free to ask us our opinions on them. That's what the Discord's there for. And Discord also has the prize pick stuff. So just a lot of value in the Discord as well. So make sure you get in there.
All right, let's get to the next game. Bucks at the Falcons. Tampa Bay. I mean, this is an interesting one too. Tampa Bay 6-point favorites on the road, 50.5 is the total. What do you think of Tampa Bay overall, Dunkel? Like, this is a team that can make a run at the NFC Championship game?
The biggest thing for me negatively about Tampa Bay is their head coach. I'm just at the point now, and I've said this the last few weeks, I just don't think Bruce Arians is a good head coach. I think he's a great quarterback developer. The problem is that he doesn't have a quarterback that he's developing. He has a quarterback that's been in the league for 20-something years. Bruce Arians has proven over time that he's been able to take quarterbacks that you could call borderline projects and turn them into success stories, right? I mean, Carson Palmer, after his injury, went to Arizona and he had good numbers. Kurt Warner, Andrew Luck. I mean, he's been deemed the quarterback whisperer. But as far as a head coach, I have not liked what I've seen from him, especially this year. This team, pound for pound, is the most talented team in the NFL on both sides of the ball collectively. Yet their defense seems to not always look like a good defense, and their offense certainly doesn't always look like a good offense. So I do think this team's success and failures will actually not be through Brady's arm. It'll actually be through Arians' head coaching, putting these guys in the right spots between offense and defense. And I think that we've seen that kind of Jekyll and Hyde-esque part of the Bucs this year. Maybe they turn it on late, which would be great, but they don't have like the team to kind of turn it on late because they're just older. Like you would figure they were going to be a team that came out guns blazing early and then kind of slowed down. They've just kind of been up and down throughout the year. With that said, look, if they're in the playoffs, they're not going to be a team you want to see with all the athletes all over the place they have on both sides of the ball. This spot here, though, look, the Falcons, what do you make of them, right? They lose against the Chargers late, had a lead late. One of the few teams that had a lead late against the Chargers and didn't win. But this game here, with the numbers where they are, I actually lean the under. Tampa Bay's defense looked good last week, kind of a bend, don't break. Now I get it. Minnesota missed. I think Bailey is still missing field goals for Minnesota, but it is what it is. Tampa Bay still won the football game pretty handedly as well. And they did what they had to do to win. Ultimately, it was a tough spot for them. I said Minnesota's, and Kirk Cousins is good in that window. You expected him to play well. Dalvin Cook ran real well against this defense. But look, Atlanta's kind of been reeling, right? This offense kind of hasn't been doing what you would expect them to do. I don't know the status of Julio, but we've said this before. From a box score perspective, sure, Julio might not mean a lot, but from the way a defense attacks this offense when Julio's not in the lineup, he means a lot. Ultimately, he opens up things for Ridley, opens up things for Gage and some of these other receivers as well, the tight end Hurst. Probably Julio being on the field also opens up the run game. So overall, we don't know the status on Julio. It will matter to me, assuming he's out seeing this line at 6. So, again, the main reason why I like the under is I don't trust this Tampa offense to pile on points. And Tampa's defense has been playing better. And Atlanta's defense hasn't been all that bad either since they've gotten healthier. So either way, I think this total assumes that both these offenses come to play. And that's just not what we've seen from these two teams the last few weeks. I would lean under at 50.5.
So every week you and me, Mangone, we end up talking about Calvin Ridley. And for good reason. So remind everybody again, you like Ridley more when Julio's out or less when Julio is in?
Well, when Julio's out, he just always prints, but he's still even good when Julio's in. Like he's the wide receiver 1. I know people don't want to accept it. It's okay. Calvin Ridley season. He is the man. I love playing him. I think it's a perfectly fine spot to do it, mainly because, dude, like the Todd Gurley experiment has died. I think we're done with it. Let's just pass the rest of the season. You got 2 games left. Let's throw to Julio and Calvin and have a good time. People, chicks dig the long ball. Chicks dig Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley running for 50 yards and just throwing bombs. That's how I hope happens all game long. Would be fun, but this is not the sexiest game. It's got a lot of names in it though, right? It's got Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, even Tom Brady, and it's got Mr. Ronald Jones. I am curious to hear how everything shakes up because like Ronald Jones last week, I felt like he was an absolute lock once we got the news that Leonard Fournette was out. If Leonard Fournette is out again and Ronald Jones is going to be in there, hey, I'm going to want to look to go to him. I know the Falcons have been a little bit better against running backs, but I do think that the volume that he's seen and the price that he has is still pretty tasty. Like I'm in on that. And I do want to counter JJ. You said Bruce Arians. You said he's a bad coach. I'm going to counter he's a good coach. Here's why. Tom Brady has been so bad in the past, and now he's been better. So maybe Bruce Arians is the quarterback whisperer and has made Brady's noodle arm better. That's just my joking counter argument. I really don't think he's a good coach, but it's me just saying, hey, Brady has been a little bit better this year, JJ. The wheels are going to fall off here, though, I think they have been falling off on Mr. Tom Brady, and I do think this could be a matchup he struggles with more than you would expect. The secondary in Atlanta has been pretty good. It was one thing that I mentioned right when they did the firing of Dan Quinn. I kind of said to my buddy, I was like, listen, the Falcons, once you fire a coach, the kind of everything changes in the locker room. It might be a whole new defensive scheme. We don't know how they're going to be. And the Falcons were getting healthier in the secondary. I don't think people understood that the Falcons had some injuries in the first couple of weeks in the secondary. And then once those guys came back, everything started turning around for that team. And I think I kind of agree with JJ. I think this game could go under. I think you could see Tom Brady missing, some passes deep. I think you could see, Matt Ryan and that whole offense struggling a ton, not being able to put together full drives. And maybe their MVP, Mr. Kim, will kick a lot of field goals to get the over there. But hey, field goals aren't going to get overs there.
Well, there's a lot of weird stuff going on here too. Like if Ronald Jones is out, I guess they activate Leonard Fournette, but does Keyshawn Vaughn get work or does Fournette get the work again? I actually, another guy I'm drawn to if Julio's out is Russell Gage on DraftKings. I mean, he's sitting there 4-7. He's got 15 and 18.7 points the last 2 weeks on DK. He's got 8 and 7 targets. I mean, good Lord, this guy is all about, he's a value pick. I know if you think it goes under, if Julio's not in there, don't you got to get some Russell Gage shares or no?
Yeah, I mean, if Julio's not in there, I understand Russell Gage being in play, and like even Hayden Hurst, like feel free to go back to him. I know he had a bad week last week, but don't be shy. He is definitely in play and at a nicer, cheaper price tag. You did bring up a good point with the running backs, and my fear is, let's say Ronald Jones is out and it's Leonard Fournette. Like, I don't think it's just Leonard Fournette. You know what I think it is? I think it's hot hand. Whoever just kind of gets moving, I think they're just going to roll.
Yeah, screw it then.
Yeah, that's again, like that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. Maybe Bruce Arians tells us otherwise. Maybe we get word before the game that someone's going to get majority of the work. But there's a lot of names here where there's enough GBP winning upside to roster these guys. But you can make a case that there's I don't know, just too many guys, right? A lot of names here. You know, Mike. We talked about with the Bucs this season. Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Godwin, Gronk. Trying to figure out which guy it is has been a problem. And I don't know. I don't know if it's a slate where you have to take a chance on doing that. But if this game does go crazy, right, again, it's in a dome in December. If it does go crazy and it's like a 60-point total, these price tags are not adjusted for what they'd be. Like Mike Evans is never 6.5K. Chris Godwin should never be 6.2K. They just are because they're all on this team together, and it's a disaster to figure out.
All right, gentlemen. We've gone so long here. Well, actually, we started late, but that's fine. Do you want to do Seattle, Washington, or Eagles, Arizona, JJ? What's the last game we're doing here? Seattle, Washington, or Seattle is in Washington. And the Eagles, Arizona.
Eagles, Arizona. Probably a little more fun.
I'm down with that, man. That'll be fun. Just got a little news here. Daniel Jones suffered another injury, so Colt McCoy is likely going to get a start this week. That's kind of interesting. So much news drops during the show. I love Wednesdays around this time. There's so much news coming out right now. Eagles, Arizona is JJ's choice here. So let's do that. Philadelphia taking on the Arizona Cardinals in Phoenix. 6.5-point favorites are the Cards. 48.5. I'm seeing 49.5 just about everywhere now. This is interesting, man. I don't know how many times quarterbacks have run for 75 yards, 2 of them in the same game. We could see that this week, Dunkel. Can't believe I'm calling you Dunkel. We could see that this week.
Yeah, for sure. So if this is a spot I actually really like the over. So ultimately, we discussed last week that what we were going to see from Jalen Hurts would dictate really where this team's problems were. And I know it's only a 1-game sample size, but was it that Hurts was so bad that literally any comparable replacement would be able to move the ball with this offense? Or was everything around him so bad and Hurts would probably struggle in the same way? Hurts had no problem moving the ball up and down the field last week. And Arizona will not give him much pushback either. I think you could probably, depending what the books come out with for Hurts, you could probably look to his rushing prop. And I know it's only 1 week, and I know they're probably going to over-adjust to it, but they're not going to way to adjust to it. And he was clearly looking to run. Arizona's got decent pass rushers, should be able to move him out of the pocket. And Hurts clearly has no issue running. He's a big kid anyway. Now, why I like the over is Arizona, what they do well is a lot of read option stuff with Murray. I know Murray hasn't been running much, but what Murray can do is push the ball downfield. And here's the thing. Well, we know with Jim Schwartz, right? Single coverage for receivers, okay? DeAndre Hopkins is going to be single covered this game, okay? He should be able to find a lot of holes in this defense. Murray should be able to find him, stick him for a lot of, I'm not going to mind his receiving props over by any means, especially considering they're probably going to be in that 78, 79 neighborhood, probably 5.5 catches. Those are going to be very targetable for guys who like player props because Jim Schwartz has been giving that up all year with his defense. Now, for main reason why I like points, I like Philly to score because I think we've seen that this offense is now potent with Jalen Hurts, potent enough, and they're not going to get much resistance against this defense. Now, I don't know if I like Philly in this spot because I do think Arizona, this is your typical get-right spot for this team coming back home. Murray's kind of getting healthier each week. They finally looked good against the Giants. Now, their offense didn't look good. The Giants kind of made a lot of mistakes on their own. But from a confidence-building standpoint, I liked what that game did for Arizona. This coming into this game now, Arizona should be able to push the ball downfield. And look, Arizona is not a team that runs the ball between the tackles that well anyway. So I'm not concerned that Philly does well stopping that. And again, Arizona should be able to push the ball downfield. Philly has shown to be more potent on offense with Jalen Hurts as the replacement quarterback. And it's main reason why I like the over here. I think points get scored. And I think if either team goes up big, it's not crazy to think that the other team will be able to come back. Not so much, but, come back enough where it continues to pad numbers towards the total. Either way, a lot of factors here point to this game going over at this number, 48, 49-ish. So I like it over for you.
Mangone, here's the guy I need to ask you about DFS. Hurts opened everything up last week for Miles Sanders. Now, Sanders broke one big run, and he still hasn't been, terrific. What do you have? 82 yards, came on one run out of 115. But the fact of the matter is he got 82 yards there. He scored a couple of times. He looked completely different back there with Jalen Hurts. I don't know if we could expect another 30 DK points out of him, but how confident would you be throwing Miles Sanders in the GPP lineup?
I mean, it's tough, but it depends on the price tag where you got him at. I think I'm seeing
6'9".
6'9". I mean,
that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I considered him a little bit last week. I thought it made sense against the Packers. So yeah, I mean, he had obviously a great game, 2 rushing touchdowns. I don't know. It's tough to stomach. I think Jalen Hurts, I mean, the price tag has gone up to 5.9K. He's in consideration, but I think Kyler Murray is a nice buy low candidate at 7K. That shoulder has been an issue, but hold it. I don't know if you read this. I want to get your take on it. It sounds like his shoulder is fine now and he's a lot better. What did you read about on him?
This is what I told you last week. I do a show and he's a pro football doc on Twitter. He used to be a team doctor. And I'm going, what's going on with Murray? Well, after the first week, he said it's going to be a 1 month injury. Second, third week, 1 month injury. Fourth week, all of a sudden he starts running. I think he ran 13 times last week. I think he's good to go.
That's
the
what
doc said it was going to happen last week. It happened. Now he's got another week. That's why I'm saying I think 2 quarterbacks can go over 75 yards rushing this week.
Yeah, they say you got to follow doctor's orders, Holden. So I'm following the doctor. I'm with you. I think Kyler Murray makes a lot of sense. I think he's interesting in cash games, and I think he's interesting in tournaments. I mean, you have a 27.5 implied total for a guy in Kyler Murray that 7K is a cheap price tag, and the rushing ability that he has, it creates a nice floor. Talked about the single coverage that Jay just said. Hey, we get DeAndre Hopkins in single coverage. That'll be a fun time. So I am in on Mr. Kyler Murray. I think he is one of the better plays on the slate at the quarterback position. It is tough, right? It's like, could I just get 900 more to go up to Pat Mahomes? Sure, I could. But, man, Kyler at 7K is definitely interesting. I like him. Love the pairing with DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know if old guy Larry Fitzgerald will, find a way to get it done at 3.3K if you want a cheapie. But, Christian Kirk is now 4.3 and the shoulder's fine. That's probably the guy I'd rather go to instead. I think that it's definitely a really interesting, this Arizona offense is definitely an enticing one that I'm going to definitely get some exposure to. The question I have with this entire slate, we're in December, right? So we want to be playing guys that are in domes, right? Arizona, 4:00 game in a dome. The other thing that's great is in DFS, I talk about it a ton. Making pivots is key, right? Having Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins on a team, and then you can have Tyreek Hill and Pat Mahomes, and then make some switches later on if you're behind because of ownership or if you need to catch up and get to a lower owned piece. That's a great way to go too. It has everything I like. It's got a dome. It's got the later games, so I can make the pivots if I need to. Has tons of upside. I'm in on this game. I think it's an awesome one. The question is just trying to run it back. It's not easy. I understand maybe going to Miles Sanders because they've been trying to get the run game going, but I don't love Dallas Goedert. I don't love Zach Ertz. Jalen Reagor is definitely broken out a bit. And he looked like he was maybe the guy that Jalen Hurts would key in on. And you can make the case that Jalen Hurts at 4.4K is going to be the cheapest price we see. We could see him get up to 5.2, 5.5 as they kind of close out the year. I wouldn't be surprised. So maybe Jalen Reagor is my run back with Kyler Murray and Hopkins being my favorite way to stack it up.
All right, guys, we're done here with the games. JJ, did Lamar have to poop or did he really need the IV? Get yourself off mute.
You're on mute,
Oh,
man.
no,
Yeah.
It's like inevitable once a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was pretty evident he was shitting out a 2x4. But it was definitely one of those trips where he had to grab a tight hold of his ankles and some extra pressure. But regardless, happy it got out for him. And I love how after the game, like, did you guys remember, like, after the game, he was like, when they were like, yeah, so how did it feel to come out at that perfect time? And he's like, yeah, I mean, my team, I'm always going to be here for him. Of course I was going to be in there for that play. Like, bro, if the dude doesn't tear his ACL on the play before, there's no way you're out in time. Like, that injury delay was the reason why he was able to come out for that fourth down.
Yeah, it got him an extra wipe. That's right. Is that what happened? Mangone, yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, dude, he had to take a poo, man. I mean, that's just plain and simple. Sometimes you just got to go, man. And I will say this: the other reason to make the case that maybe it was that, and he's lying to us, is this isn't your typical, Sunday schedule, right? Monday Night Football, things are thrown off a bit. The body's not used to it, so I don't know. Maybe that's when he has to go.
What?
Yeah, but your body's a clock. JJ knows. I mean, every morning it's like, he drinks the coffee and he's ready to go.
Yeah, 2 in the afternoon for me is like death taxes and blowing up the ball at 2 in the afternoon. What I will say though is the irony of that game. Hollywood Brown literally dropped like 4 or 5 passes, right? And then Lamar Jackson literally missed like 4 or 5 deep throws wide open. The irony and the biggest play of the game on a 4th and 5 for Lamar Jackson to hit Hollywood Brown on a 40-yard touchdown pass is literally the NFL at its finest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's some would say, there's people out there that say it's rigged, right? They created this whole narrative. That's my favorite. Those guys are the best.
Yeah. We need to stop with poop shaming, by the way. Everybody does it. There's a good book out there. Everybody poops.
Some even do it in their pants, Holden.
I have before. It happens. I'm not afraid to admit it. I was out walking the dog one day. All of a sudden, better go home.
Yeah, you watch the dog do it, and you're like,
I'll admit it. Most guys won't admit it. Happens all the time. Yeah, at least once a week. I want to remind everybody, DC 30 draft cheats with us. We're giving a special code to you guys and ladies, 30% off your first month subscription to Run Pure Sports and 15% off lifetime subscription. We also have an extra $20. Get on the bet side. These guys are just murdering it right now. And then premium NFL version of Final Countdown, of course, is 11:30 Eastern, and we'll have an NBA Final Countdown, usually about 45 minutes to an hour before tip-off. JSU and I are going to be doing those this week too. So, and I know Mangone's going to be on there from time to time. I can't wait. But that's it. We're done. JJ, you want to say anything before we go? Anything about the site or no?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you're already a DFS member, no reason to not join the BetSend. It's extra $20 a month. And obviously the DFS guys crush. And we've been doing really good ourselves. And even if you're on the bet side, there's no reason not to join the DFS end. It's just both sides been doing really well. Bet 25 off or 25% off on our side. And be sure to be using both because if you've been a member of both, it's hard to imagine you've lost, even $1.
Bets 25% off over there. Mango, what do you got coming up this week besides for a college football show?
Oh, yeah, we got that. We got tons of NFL stuff. Obviously, Saturday NFL. I'm cranking out some LPGA core plays and tiers here this afternoon.
Dude, stop. Time out. I saw some guys like Big Testicles, just horrible names that were in there. I feel like we can just crush them. None of them are verified. None of them got check marks there. We're just going to murder LPGA this week, right?
I assume you're saying in the lobby, there's like random people in there that we don't know about, like just no badges that I should be.
No badges at all. Like half of the thing was no badges.
I would be a little concerned about a DFS guy named Big Testicles. So you might want to tread lightly.
One.
He had a 1 after it.
So you
might only have 1.
Even worse.
I'm gonna have to take a little look at the lobby. I just opened it now. I mean, I'm definitely seeing a lot of 1 badges left and right. So I haven't entered my contest yet. So that'll be part of my contest selection process.
Is 1 badge good or bad?
You want the full. If they have the full badge, you don't want to touch them. But if they have 1 badge or anything, basically the problem is what they did in DFS is they made it's not that hard to get the full experience badge. So anyone who doesn't have a full experience badge, you just want to
There's guys with no badges. So we're going to go tear up LPGA this week. I will not watch a second of it. And I'm very vocal ripping people that don't watch the sports they bet and play DFS on, but it's LPGA.
I will not watch any LPGA.
Dunkel, you went out of your way to hop on the show today. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, dude.
Yeah, no, happy to do it.
Just a wonderful person. For Mangone and Simon behind the scenes, thank you very much for watching the DFS and Bet Show here on Run Pure Sports, Run Pure Bets, and keep running pure.
2 thumbs up.
Pure.